Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's AOB, coming back at you with yet another video. Conflict. We love conflict, don't we? As a species, conflict is just the thing that we gravitate towards the most. We have a history of intensely huge conflicts. The most interesting stories that are ever told involve conflict. We just, as a species, find entertainment in conflict. That's just how we are, and it's how we always will be, because we're such a positive set of individuals. And this is why I believe that the Versus movie is such a popular kind of movie. We all know a Versus movie, you know, it usually has versus in the title. It usually involves two mega franchises coming together to clash to answer that eternal question: which of these things, or these things, would win in a fight? Boom! There you go! The Versus movie. Now, more specifically, I'm talking about Versus movies which are crossover movies, where you get two pre-existing separate franchises and make them clash into one single movie together, and just have the main characters of that franchise, or the main monsters, or whatever it may be, fight. But it's as simple as that. It's a simple concept, and it works to a T. Most of the time, I think. There's loads of these Versus movies. They've been going on for years. There's like a Dracula versus Frankenstein or something like that. There's the original Godzilla versus Kong. Never seen that before. Oh god, there's loads of these. I haven't seen anywhere near all of these. But I do love me a good Versus movie. Let's get into this. So the first one that comes to my head, and one that I've always loved ever since I was a kid, is AVP, aka Alien vs Predator. The first one. God, I've always loved this movie. I know it's not great. I know it's not a masterclass in cinema, but I really like Alien vs Predator. The Alien vs Predator action in this makes the whole film worth it for me, especially the very first fight that you finally see between an alien and Predator for the first time. Such a great fight. Love it so much. And even, yes, the human stuff isn't that interesting, but, you know, it's not as bad as some people might think it is. But I can happily sit through all the human stuff in the first Alien vs Predator movie to get to the actual Alien vs Predator action, because when we get to the Alien vs Predator action, it is worth it. Like I said, that first fight between the Hunter Predator and the Nethead alien, iconic. Love that fight. So amazing. And of course we have, you know, the Predator and the human teaming up at the end. That's so good. The woman who played Blade's mum in the first Blade, she's in this. And I love Blade. All three of them. That's a bonus. Let's have Blade's mum and a Predator team up to take down a queen alien and a whole hive of aliens. Let's do this. And I really like the pyramid setting too. Now, yeah, I know it would have been better if we had like more of a, you know, the colonial marine sort of setting that we have in like all the iconic Alien vs Predator games that we have. You know, I think it would have been like a bit more exciting, more interesting to do that. But I do like the pyramid setting and the whole idea of the pyramids and the history of humans and predators hunting down aliens. It's an alright concept. It's a separate thing. If you don't consider it canon with the Alien or the Predator movies, then it can stand on its own. I mean, I could consider it canon with the Predator movies. There's no way it could be canon with the actual Alien movies, because that's all in the future. Alien vs Predator was set in the modern days, so it just doesn't work. But, you know, the Predator films were kind of set in the modern day, or when they came out. But I really enjoyed the first Alien vs Predator. The fights between the alien and the Predator is great. It's worth sitting through the human stuff, and I really like the settings, and I think it's just got some great action in there. And I've always loved it since I was a kid, and that love still holds today. So, there we go. I'll tell you what I don't love though. Alien vs Predator: A Requiem. Oh, fuck me. What is this movie? What is this movie? Oh my god. There's so much about this movie which is just, it's disastrous. I know, like I said this, I know that the human characters in the first Alien vs Predator, they're not a masterclass set of written characters. I know that. I know they're not. But the characters in Alien vs Predator: Requiem that we follow, what are these? They're horrible. They're horrendously written. They're so horrible. I mean, there was some basics for the characters, the human characters in the first Alien vs Predator. There was at least something. In this, they just took a generic teen romance thing, mixed it with slasher elements, and just made these crap, disposable, who are these people? Like, it's just so boring, so ridiculous. What? And I would say, well, maybe the human character stuff is shit in this film. But It'll be worth it when you get to the Alien vs Predator action in this film. It's not even worth sitting through for the Alien vs Predator action in this film. The Alien vs Predator action in this film is shit. It's nonsense. It's crap. It's horrendous. Mainly because it's too fucking dark and you can't see a thing. Have you seen how dark this film is? You cannot see anything. I'm not even kidding. I don't mean dark as in tonally. I don't mean that this is a tonally much darker story than the first Alien vs Predator, and there's actually blood and there's actually guts and there's gore, because there is blood and there's more guts in this film. I think this film was like a 15 or an 18 and the first one was a 12A or whatever. This film is like a 15 or an 18, there's a lot more blood, a lot more gore. You see a kid have a chest burster come out of him near the beginning, but that doesn't make this any better. This is just, you can't see a freaking thing in this film. It's infamous for being too dark, you can't see a damn thing. This film is horrendous, and I don't like the idea that it's just one single predator against a load of aliens. I mean, in the first Alien vs Predator, it was 3 predators against a whole nest of aliens, but there was still more than one predator there. I just didn't like the idea of there being just one predator versus loads of aliens. He's a cool predator, the wolf predator, one of my favourite predator designs, but no, it didn't sit well with me at all. Yeah, there's just nothing redeeming about this film at all. Nothing. Nothing at all. Like, the Predalien, it's called a Predalien. How does that sound intimidating in any way whatsoever? Predalien, it's crap. Yeah, I can't rant on about that one for much longer, because I'll go on forever. Alien vs Predator Requiem, what? Get out. Fuck off, will you? But we will go from hatred, and we will go to another one that I've always loved since I ever saw it, and that is Freddy vs Jason. Oh yes, I love this movie. I watched this film nearly every Halloween. I actually watched it Halloween just gone with my flatmate, and it still holds up. I love this movie ever since I was younger. Probably shouldn't have seen it when I was younger. This film is just, it's a guilty pleasure. I'm sorry, I love Freddy vs Jason. It's hilarious. And like I say, there's only like 2 big fights between Freddy and Jason in this film. One in like the dream world and then one in the real world, which is at the end. But like the first Alien vs Predator, it's worth sitting through the human stuff, which isn't very interesting, to get to the meat of the film, to get to the actual Freddy and Jason battles, because they are absolutely, they're so entertaining and they're so well filmed. I love this film. Like, Freddy somehow knows Kung Fu or something in this. Like, where did he learn that? I know it. Like, this isn't in the dream world. This is in the real world at the end. He's in the real world fighting Jason in real life. He has no dream manipulation powers to rely on here. It's just him and Jason, fair one-on-one, and he knows Kung Fu or something. He's doing all these high kicks, these elbows. It's like, when did Freddy learn this? Okay. Alright, fine, fair enough, but it's so entertaining. And even the dream fight itself is really fun. It's so, I can watch this film over and over again. See, the thing is, while the human characters in this film are hollow and there's it's just so generic, you've got like Freddy spread out in this, like messing about with him, being Freddy. Like, honestly, this is the best version of Freddy, I think, out of the whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. I think this is the most iconic design of Freddy. This is his best glove. His glove is huge in this, and his personality. He's like he's the more jokey, less serious. Actually, no, he's not serious at all in this film. He's the pure jokey, hilarious version of Freddy that sort of plagues the later Nightmare on Elm Street films, but it works really well in this movie. And this was the film that first introduced me to Jason. Like, I'd seen, like the first 3 Nightmare on Elm Street movies before I watched Freddy vs. Jason, so I knew of Freddy, and I also knew of Jason, but I'd never seen a Friday the 13th movie, or I didn't really know anything about the franchise. I just knew that there was some sort of iconic killer from a movie franchise that wore a hockey mask, and this is the first time I saw anything with Jason in it, and I really like Jason in this film. I really do. There's sort of an element of Jason in this that's really sort of sympathetic. I think it's the guy who plays Jason in this film, because I know it's not Kane Hodder. It's his eyes. There's something about Jason's eyes in this that make you sort of feel a bit like it's just a misunderstood kid who got let drown while a load of teenagers had sex. The poor lad. I can see why he's doing this, poor lad. But yeah, there's an element, Jason was the sort of good guy, if you could call him, of this film compared to Freddy. It's just, it was great. I loved it. And I'm so sad that we didn't get a sequel to this film. There was a sequel comic, which was apparently pitched as a movie idea that involved bringing Ash Williams from The Evil Dead into a Freddy vs. Jason sequel. Why had that never happened? I love Evil Dead. Evil Dead is one of my favourite horror franchises, as well as Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. If you brought Ash Williams into this, oh my god, Ash versus Freddy versus Jason, oh Oh, the possibilities are endless. Why did they never do that? I know they did it in a comic, but I've not read it. I would love to have seen that in a movie. Oh, that would have been amazing. I wanted a sequel to this for so long, and we never got it, and we're never gonna now. I love this film. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I go to it every year for Halloween, more or less, and I can watch this endlessly. So entertaining. I love it. So now we go on to... This is a very different one. Before we had the horror icons taking on each other, now we've got two iconic superheroes taking on each other. We're going to talk about Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Who didn't want this film as a kid? This is a film that I wanted ever since I was a kid. You know, like Batman versus Superman in a film, that's a childhood dream right there. And naturally, my inner child, because, I mean, I'm still a child, really. My inner child just popped out even more when Batman v Superman was announced. Batman vs Superman the film, finally, it's been going on so long, we're gonna get this, and I'm like, one of the films that I have never been so hyped for. This is a, oh my god, I cannot get over how hyped I was for this movie. Like, this, and like, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, and another one that I'll talk about later, like, those were films I was so mega hyped for. I just couldn't contain it. It was just amazing, and top it off, Ben Affleck's Batman looked iconic before the film came out. And you know, we saw it, when it came out, I was initially disappointed. I mean, the big thing is that this film was just needlessly complicated. It was a needlessly complicated, like it was just Batman versus Superman. You didn't need to make this complicated. You didn't need to overcomplicate why they're gonna fight. Just have them disagree on ideologies and have them fight. That's all you had to do. But for some reason, they thought, no, we're going to make it a bit more intricate than that. We can't just have that. We're going to have Lex Luthor pulling the strings. They're not going to fight because, oh, they just disagree with their ideologies. They're just going to fight because Lex Luthor was pulling the strings all along, and he's going to make Superman fight and kill Batman because he's got his mum kidnapped, and if she doesn't go and kill Batman, then he's going to kill Superman's mum. And then Batman is like, oh, but I want to kill him anyway because he's a dangerous alien who could destroy the world if he really wanted. So now we're going to fight, blah, blah, blah. It should have just been as simple as Batman's doing his thing, Superman just swoops down and says, oi, stop doing that now or I'm going to have to take you in, boy. And Batman's like, no, make me. And then, boom, fight! Fight, that's all it should have been. But no, they made it needlessly complicated. They didn't need to do that. The fight itself is great. It's just way too short. Like, this film is about 8 minutes long. The film's 2.5 hours, or 3 hours, including the Ultimate Edition. You got, like, 2 hours of build up to this fight, maybe a bit longer than that. And then the fight happens, and it's great, but it only lasts, like, 8 minutes until they eventually team up and take down the Doomsday CGI thing, you know? Come on, you should have made this fight way longer. Oh my god. It's such, like, wasted potential because, like, the bits that we did get of the fight were so great, well choreographed. They were both shining in their own way, getting advantages over the other in certain ways. It was a pretty even fight until towards the end when Batman just got the upper hand because kryptonite. Need that kryptonite. And it just showed, like, if this fight had gone on just a bit longer, it could have been so much longer. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being a fanboy who wanted to see him fight longer, but I don't know. It was a weird one. It could have lasted longer than it was. That's not to say I hate this movie. I don't hate it. I don't hate the movie. I was initially disappointed, and then upon rewatching it sometimes, like, yeah, it's still flawed. It's not the best movie in the world, but, you know, there are elements that I do enjoy. It's a beautifully directed movie. Zack Snyder's got some good visuals for this. And quite frankly, I would have preferred that they stuck with this sort of tone with, like, the Justice League films and stuff rather than just chop Justice League up and make it more light-hearted because, hit panic button, Batman v Superman didn't do well because it's too dark. I'd just rather they would have stayed consistent rather than just switch it up and make the film franchises after Batman v Superman just suddenly not match up tonally, and it doesn't feel like it's in the same universe anymore. And another thing as well is that this film, what's hard about this film is that it feels so irrelevant now. It's so irrelevant, it sets up so much that doesn't get paid off. This is the same problem that Amazing Spider-Man 2 had. You had all this set up in Batman v Superman to set up for Justice League Part 1 and Part 2 because Justice League was originally going to be split into Part 1 and Part 2. And then Justice League 1 came out, and then that ended up getting, like, chopped up and re-edited and redirected by Joss Whedon because, tragically, Zack Snyder's daughter passed away, so he couldn't continue. So Joss Whedon took over, and he was like, you know, that makes sense. Joss Whedon did the first two Avenger movies. This makes sense. He could make this work. He knows how to direct an ensemble superhero team. Let's do this. And it just ended up being, oh no. Well, I mean, it's not horrible, but God, it's just standard, and this is Justice League. This needs to be more than just standard. And then obviously Justice League flopped at the box office, and then Justice League Part 2 just got pulled the plug on that. That's not happening anymore because the first one didn't do well at all. And now Ben Affleck's no longer Batman. We don't know what's happening with Henry Cavill as Superman. It's just so irrelevant. Nothing is getting resolved that was set up in Batman v Superman now. We've still got DC EU movies happening, like with Aquaman and Shazam, and they're great, but they're just looking to be separate now. Like, it's all separate. Like, nothing is continuing over from Batman v Superman or Justice League. And it's just, it's so irrelevant now. Ben Affleck's gone now. He's no longer Batman. We've got Robert Pattinson. We don't know what's going on there. Is it the same Batman but younger, or is it just a complete recast altogether? We've no idea. Henry Cavill's Superman. What's going on there? Why isn't he getting another movie? Why? He had a cameo in Shazam, but it wasn't even Henry Cavill. The shot was from the neck down. So what's going on? Is he Superman or is he not? What do you want to do? The DCEU is like correcting itself now. Aquaman was great. Shazam was amazing. Wonder Woman 84 looks promising. Birds of Prey might be alright. We don't know. People are starting to like it now. They're getting on board with it. Just decide what you want to do. Yeah, that was a bit of a tangent about like everything else around the DCEU rather than Batman v Superman, but that's just the problems with Batman v Superman, is that it's so irrelevant now. Nothing matters in that film now, so I can't watch it now because there's so much set up that doesn't get resolved now, and it's not going to get resolved. It's just getting redone entirely. It's such a shame. As a film on its own, there are things that I enjoy. It's just, it was needlessly complicated, and Lex Luthor was a bit... Now, last but not least, the big one. This is the big versus movie. This is probably my favourite out of all of them. This is the biggest one, and I've been looking forward to talking about this one for a while. It is Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. What a load of shit. What a crock of shit. Speaking of crocs, the actual best one is Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. Godfather, eat your heart out. Star Wars, eat your heart out. And they take any iconic classic film that people consider to be a critical masterpiece, and this one just blows all of them out of the water, don't you think? There's so much more to this movie than just a Mega Shark and a Crocosaurus fighting each other. There's so much more to it than that. There's a conflict there that needs resolving, and you want it to get resolved. Like, you buy this conflict. You understand why this Mega Shark wants to take down this Crocosaurus. You get it. You get it. Okay, no, I'm joking again. It's not Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. The next one I'm going to talk about is a versus movie, even though versus isn't in the title. It's going to be Captain America Civil War. Oh boy, you call me a fanboy all you want. I absolutely adore this movie. It's one of my favourite MCU movies, and I love this movie. I don't love this movie ironically like I do Alien vs Predator or Freddy vs Jason. I don't have any sort of any problems with it like I do Batman v Superman. It's just, this is like Batman v Superman but done better, and it's so funny that they came out in the same year. Isn't that just strange? I just love this movie. It's just a great movie. It's got an amazing story. It's so much more than just a versus movie. It's so much more than just going, like, Iron Man, Captain America, they're gonna fight. Who wins? Let's go, let's see, let's find out. It's so much more than that. It's just this big clash of ideologies when it comes to the Sokovia Accords. One agrees with it, one doesn't. But the thing is, you see both sides. You see the complexities. You understand why Tony Stark wants to sign the Accords. You understand why Cap doesn't want to sign the Accords. And you understand why everybody on each side, whether it be Iron Man's team, Captain America's team, you can see why they believe or agree with this person, and they're following him into this fight. And it also helps as well that each of these characters had their own films backing them up before this whole confrontation happened, which makes the whole thing even more satisfying and heartbreaking when it comes to the end, because it's all coming up because of all this build-up. We've got history of these films, we have the context of what's happened in each character's past, influencing why they feel the way they do, and it's all coming to a head in this film. It's so immensely satisfying. I like to make this comparison. Imagine, just like the DCEU, where Man of Steel came out and then Batman v Superman was the next movie. Imagine if they had brought out Iron Man, and then the next movie in MCU after that was then Captain America Civil War. It would not have worked. If you take Civil War as it is now, and if you released it straight after Iron Man, it would have been a mess. It would have been a mess, just like Batman v Superman was a mess, because there was nothing building it up, and you didn't have any context of like any past events to like make you understand what's actually going on in the greater scheme of things. That's what I like to compare it to. And because we have the past movies, this film just works and it's just all the better for it, and it is so good. To top it off, you've got amazing fanboy moments. The airport fight on its own, I can watch that over and over and over again. That is one of the greatest fight sequences in anything I've ever seen in my life. It gives me chills just thinking about it. This film just spoils you rotten. Like, just the whole MCU spoils fans rotten, honestly. Also, as well, this film introduced us to the MCU version of Spider-Man. Thank God he's back! And it also introduced Black Panther, and it successfully propelled them into their own franchises, which were absolutely spectacular on their own. And the thing is, another thing as well, initially, yes, you do want to see Iron Man and Captain America fight. You do want to see it, because it's a cool thing you want to see. But by the end of the film, when Cap and Iron Man, they reconcile, they come together at the end, putting aside their differences to find Zemo and take him down, right? All that, and you're like, oh, you know what? It's really nice to see that they've come together now, because throughout the film when they're falling out, it's really actually heartbreaking. You know, you don't want to see them fall out. You can tell that they don't want to fall out. They don't want to fight. That's what makes this even more devastating to watch. And at the end, when they finally reconcile and come together, the moment where Zemo reveals that Bucky was the one who killed Tony's parents is so heartbreaking, because at this point, you don't want to see them fight anymore. Unlike Batman v Superman, Freddy vs Jason, Alien vs Predator, where you want to see these things fight. You want to see it fight because it's going to be cool. You want to see, oh, who is the better one? I want to see these two iconic things clash. Unlike those, at this moment in this film, you don't want to see that anymore. You don't want to see them fight. You want them to just come together and just be the way they were before. You want to make up and just reform the Avengers and just have it be all right. But that doesn't happen, and this fight is hard to watch. Like, it's a great fight, and but there's so much emotional stake involved in this end fight between Captain America, Iron Man and Bucky. It's really heart-wrenching. It's hard to watch. The moment where Captain America looks like he's about to kill Tony, and Tony like quivers away, like covering his face, at that moment he thinks that Cap is about to kill him, but he doesn't. That's the moment where you're like, oh my god, this friendship is dead. This is a dead friendship, and I am left wallowing in my own pity because this friendship is dead. That's what makes this movie so effective. It's a versus movie, and it's the one versus movie where at a point you're just like, actually, I don't want to see them fight anymore. I want to see them make up. I want the Avengers to reform. I want everything to be back to the way it was. That's what this movie does. This movie hits you where you live. It's great. I love this movie. Easily the best versus movie. Yes, I know. I'm an MCU fan. I'm also a DCEU fan, which breaks my heart more that I think Batman v Superman didn't live up to this. But, oh god, yeah, Civil War. I love you, Civil War, so much. So yeah, that was my video talking about versus movies. I do hope you enjoyed it. It was a bit of a tangent video, but I just fancied talking about it. It was in my head and I wanted to get it out there. So, do comment down below what your favourite versus movies are. Maybe rank all the ones that you've seen from your least favourite to your favourite, or just tell me what versus movies you love in general. Let's have a nice discussion going if anybody watches this at all. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Do subscribe, press the like button if you did like the video. Hell, give it a thumbs down if you didn't. It's fine, I don't mind. I won't hold out against you. Free country. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. Ciao for now.